All right, good afternoon. Today we are going to read through chapter 8 of Dracula by Bram Stoker. But we're not just going to read the words. We are going to stop and talk about interesting vocabulary words or interesting phrases. So if you're learning English and you're pretty advanced, this is a good way to improve your vocabulary or your understanding of idioms and expressions. And we're doing this live right now. So, uh, if you're watching this with me, you can ask questions in the chat. What does this mean? What does that mean? If you don't ask questions, I will just stop sometimes and explain words which I think might be useful for you or interesting for you. Also, recently we've been, after reading the chapter, we have been going on Discord in the same video. So after the chapter is finished, we have been practicing interesting vocabulary words that we've learned in the chapter, and also the focus really is on pronunciation. So if you're having difficulty with pronunciation, stay until the end, because we practice in very, very big detail pronunciation. Okay, well, let's get started with chapter 8 of Dracula by Bram Stoker. Mina Murray's journal. Same day, 11 o'clock p.m. Oh, but I'm tired. If it were not that I had made my diary a duty, I should not open it tonight. We had a lovely walk. Lucy, after a while, was in gay spirits. And, you know, we see this word gay a lot coming up in books. It just means happy. So if it says Lucy was in gay spirits, that just means she was in a very good mood. Owing, I think, to some dear cows who came nosing towards us in the field close to the lighthouse and frightened the wits out of us. I believe we forgot everything, except, of course, personal fear, and it seemed to wipe the slate clean. Do you know a slate before computers, before paper? Well, not before paper, but before paper was commercially available. When children were in school, they used to use this because it was more economical. I'm just going to show you what this is. This is a slate. So they would have it's like a primitive laptop. And then you write with chalk, and you can erase it very easily and write more things. So that's what they used to use 100 years ago or 150 years ago. And obviously people don't use that anymore. But there's an expression to have a clean slate. And that's like a new beginning. Like, forget everything about the past. Forget everything about the past. Now you have a clean slate. So that means a new beginning. Why were they using it here? I don't remember. Let's see. I believe we forgot everything, of course, except personal fear, and it seemed to wipe the slate clean. Wipe. This is wiping the slate clean. So they're both feeling very troubled. There are a lot of problems happening. And then they had this nice experience where some cows came up to them, and it was fun and funny. And this sort of took away their worries. It wiped the slate clean, and it made them not worry. It made them feel better about their current situation. I believe we forgot everything except, of course, personal fear, and it seemed to wipe the slate clean and give us a fresh start. We had a capital severe tea at Robin Hood's Bay, in a sweet little old-fashioned inn with a bow window, right over the seaweed-covered rocks of a strand. A bow is like a shape like this, like a rainbow. So a bow window would be a window shaped like this. I would call that a bay window. I don't know if there's a difference. Maybe a bay window is more angular and a bow window is more of a half circle. With a bow window right over the seaweed-covered rocks of the strand. I believe we should have shocked the new woman with our appetites. Men are more tolerant, bless them, than we walked home with some, or rather many, stoppages to rest, and with our hearts full of a constant dread of wild bulls. Well, we've seen that word dread quite a bit. This morning we were talking about that word. And dread is a feeling that something horrible is going to happen in the future. So when you have a feeling of dread, you're scared because you know something bad is coming, something horrible is coming. I dread tomorrow's English test because I didn't study. So I know tomorrow's English test will be very bad, and I'm afraid because I didn't study. Lucy was really tired, and we intended to creep off to bed as soon as we could. Creeping is walking very quietly so nobody can hear you or nobody sees you. So creeping off to bed means to maybe walk sort of escape very quietly to bed. I don't know why they would have to do that, because I think they're staying in a hotel. Who cares if... it seems like, who cares who would see them? Who knows? Okay, let's see. So creep off to bed as soon as we could. The young curate came in, however, and Mrs. Westenra asked him to stay for supper. Well, that's the reason, because other people are staying at the hotel, and they didn't want to socialize, so they wanted to go up to their room very quietly, but it didn't work. Lucy and I both had a fight for it with a dusty miller. I know it was a hard fight on my part, and I'm quite heroic. I think that someday the bishops must get together and see about breeding up a new class of curates who don't take supper, no matter how hard they may be pressed to, and who will know when girls are tired. So she invited him to dinner to be polite, and he accepted, but he should have had the consciousness to know they really didn't want to have dinner with him. Lucy's asleep and breathing softly. She had more color in her cheeks than usual, and looks oh so sweet. If Mr. Homewood fell in love with her seeing her only in the drawing room, I wonder what he would say if he saw her now. Some of the new women writers, I don't know, that's the second time they've used this word new woman. So let's ask ChatGPT what that phrase means. I think this is the 1890s, so I'm asking ChatGPT, what does new woman mean in the 1890s? New woman referred to a social and cultural concept describing women who were independent, educated, and pursuing personal, professional, and social freedoms that were traditionally reserved for men. The new woman challenged conventional Victorian gender roles by seeking opportunities beyond marriage and domestic life. Some of the new women writers will someday start an idea that men and women should be allowed to see each other asleep before proposing or accepting. But I suppose the new woman won't condescend in the future to accept. She will do the proposing herself, and a nice job she will make of it too. There's some consolation in that. I'm so happy tonight because dear Lucy seems better. I really believe she's turned the corner. Turning the corner is an expression which means that you've made progress. So Lucy's having a lot of trouble. She's sleepwalking and acting very strange. and a lot of bad things have been happening in the town where they're staying. But today they had a really nice day, and so now her friend is writing, I believe she's turned a corner. I believe she's made progress. Things will be better from now on. I really believe she's turned a corner, and we're over her troubles with dreaming. I should be quite happy if only I knew if Jonathan, God bless him and keep him. 11th of August, diary again, no sleep now, so I may as well write. I'm too agitated to sleep. Agitated is like a combination of anxiety and excitement. So she's like very nervous. She has a lot of energy, but it's bad energy. Being agitated is not a good thing. It's having bad energy. What do I do? What should I do? It's like nervous energy. I'm too agitated to sleep. I fell asleep as soon as I had closed my diary, and suddenly I became broad awake and sat up with a horrible sense of fear upon me, and of some feeling of emptiness around me. The room was dark, so I could not see Lucy's bed, and I stole across and felt for her. The bed was empty. I lit a match and found that she was not in the room. The door was shut, but not locked, as I had left it. I feared to wake her mother, who's been more than usually ill lately, so threw on some clothes and got ready to look for her. As I was leaving the room, it struck me. You know, the word strike, it means hit. But when you say that something struck you, it usually means you suddenly have an idea. You suddenly understand. It struck me like, oh, I know what happened. Like, where's Lucy? Oh, I know where she is. That's what it means when you suddenly understand what happened, or when you suddenly understand the truth. Then it struck me. Then I suddenly understood what happened. As I was leaving the room, it struck me that the clothes she wore might give me some clue to her dreaming intention. So she's thinking, where's Lucy? And she's about to leave the room to look for her, and then she suddenly gets a wonderful idea. Oh, I should try to find the clothes that she put on, and then I will understand maybe where she's going. Dressing gown would be mean house. Dress outside, dressing gown and dress were both in their places. Thank God, I said to myself. She cannot be far if she's only in her nightdress. I ran downstairs and looked in the sitting room. Not there. And then I looked in all other rooms of the house, with an ever-growing fear chilling my heart, and finally I came to the hall door, and I found it open. It was not wide open, but the catch of the lock had not caught. The people of the house are careful to lock the door every night, so I feared that Lucy must have gone out as she was. There was no time to think of what might happen. A vague, overmastering fear obscured all details. If you say that something is vague, it means it's not clear. So she had this vague fear. So this fear that covered everything, but not very clear what exactly she's afraid of. It's not clear what she should be afraid of. She just knows to be afraid. I took a big, heavy shawl and ran out. The clock was striking 1 as I was in the crescent, and there was not a soul in sight. So you could be boring and say nobody was around. There were no people in the town. But one way that you could be more dramatic is to say not a soul in sight. That just means there was nobody there, but it really gives you the idea that there wasn't even one person. It's a pretty common expression, actually. I ran along the north terrace, but could see no sign of the white figure which I expected. At the edge of the west cliff, above the pier, I looked across the harbor to the east cliff, in hope or fear, I don't know which, of seeing Lucy in our favorite seat. There was a bright, full moon, with heavy black driving clouds, which threw the whole scene into a fleeting diorama. You know, when you have the word fly, and when you think about the word fly, that means, something is in the sky and then it goes, and you kind of think of like it goes quickly. When something is flying, it doesn't really move very slowly, does it? It usually moves pretty fast. Fleeting is something that flies very quickly, something that moves past you very quickly. Fly, fleet, it's kind of the same word. And a diorama is like a picture. So maybe she imagined a picture in her head. So a diorama is like a scene. Let's look at a picture of a diorama. Usually you have to make those in school when you're a little child. So I don't know if in your country you had to do this, but when I was little, we had to make dioramas in school. So, make a diorama of Africa. So this was somebody's assignment to make a diorama of Africa, I guess, or make a diorama of an island. This is a very nice one, not done by a child, obviously. But usually they're very primitive looking, not very detailed. These are very good ones. So a fleeting diorama. So she got a picture of a scene in her head. But it was just for a moment because it was fleeting. Fleeting means it flew away quickly. It ran away quickly. It was very temporary. I don't remember what it was, though, or I don't remember if she mentioned it. So let's take a look. There was a bright, full moon with heavy, black, driving clouds which threw the whole scene into a fleeting diorama of light and shade as they sailed across. Oh, so what she's saying is it's very dark outside, but there's a full moon, so there's light coming. But what happens is the clouds, there are many, many clouds in the sky, so the clouds will cover the moon, everything becomes black, and then the light will come again, and you see another picture. So it's kind of like a picture, no picture, picture, no picture. That's what it means. A fleeting diorama of light and shade as they sailed across. For a moment or two I could see nothing, as the shadow of a cloud obscured St. Mary's Church and all around it. Then, as the cloud passed, I could see the ruins of the abbey coming into view, and as the edge of a narrow band of light, as sharp as a sword cut, moved along, the churchyard became gradually visible. Whatever my expectation was, it was not disappointed, for there, on our favorite seat, the silver light of the moon struck a half-reclining figure, snowy white. The coming of the cloud was too quick for me to see much, for shadow shut down on light almost immediately. But it seemed to me as though something dark stood behind the seat where the white figure shone, and bent over it. What it was, whether man or beast, I could not tell. I did not wait to catch another glance, but flew down the steep steps to the pier, along the fish market to the bridge, which was the only way to reach the east cliff. The town seemed as dead, for not a soul did I see. I rejoiced that it was so, for I wanted no witness of poor Lucy's condition. The time and distance seemed endless, and my knees trembled, and my breath came labored as I toiled up the endless steps to the Abbey. We've had the word toil before. That means hard work. It was really hard work to walk up those stairs because, and we've had this word before also in this book, steep. If you talk about an inclination, if you're walking up a hill, this would be a very easy hill to walk up. But what if it's a hill like this? That would not be easy to walk up because this hill is steep. You can also have steep steps. It's probably the same word, actually. So steep steps, that would be steps like this. Very hard, makes you tired to walk up because the inclination is like this. Steps like this, those are easy to walk up, but not steep steps. Can you say steep steps? Okay, let's see. So toil means hard work. And labor is another word. Labor means working hard also. So the time and distance seemed endless, and my knees trembled and my breath came labored. So it was really hard work to breathe. That's what that means. My breath came labored as I toiled up the endless steps to the Abbey. I must have gone fast, and yet it seemed to me as if my feet were weighted with lead, and as though every joint in my body were rusty. When I got almost to the top, I could see the seat and the white figure, for I was now close enough to distinguish it, even through the spells of shadow. There was undoubtedly something, long and black, bending over the half-reclining white figure. I called in fright, "Lucy, Lucy!" and something raised a head, and from where I was I could see a white face and red gleaming eyes. Gleaming means giving out light. Like, let's look at a picture of gleaming. It's so hard these days to find pictures of things because everything is the name of a anime cartoon or a product. But you can see these things that are reflecting light. There's sort of shining light. That's gleaming. These are gleaming things. So she could, from far away, she could see her friend Lucy and a black figure, a black shape over her. And when she called Lucy, the thing looked up and she could see red gleaming eyes. Let's see, if we do red gleaming, what do we get? Oh, we get a ruby. That's a ruby. But you get the idea. Lucy, Lucy, and something raised a head, and from where I could see a white face and red gleaming eyes. Lucy did not answer, and I ran on to the entrance of the church. You have run on, which I don't know if you know that, but sometimes when you have a phrasal verb, the preposition could mean something special. And this is a case of the preposition having a meaning where it's pretty literal. Maybe you're familiar with the phrasal verb go on, which means continue. Somebody's talking to you, blah, 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 blah. And then the listener might say, go on. That means tell me more, to continue. Or maybe you've seen carry on, which also means continue. So not always, but sometimes that preposition on can mean continue. So here, when she says run on, first she's running one way, and then she turns and she continues a different way. So I ran on to where? So Lucy did not answer, and I ran on to the entrance of the churchyard. So she continued running. That's what run on means here. It means I continued running to the entrance of the churchyard. As I entered, the church was between me. So the church was between me and the seat. And for a moment or so, I lost sight of her. Do you know that's a way of making an approximate number? So you can say, for a minute or so. That means maybe a minute, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. For an hour or so. That means maybe an hour, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. For a week or so. You can do that with any time period. You can add or so. And that means maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. The church was between me and the seat, and for a minute or so, I lost sight of her. And when I came in view again, the cloud had passed, when the moonlight struck so brilliantly that I could see Lucy half reclining, with her head lying over the back of the seat, and she was quite alone. And there was not any sign of a living thing about. When I bent over her, I could see that she was still asleep. Her lips were parted, so her mouth was a little bit open. Parting means kind of open, not together. It's kind of the opposite of together. This is together, this is parted, separated. Her lips were parted, and she was breathing. Not softly as usual with her, but in long, heavy gasps. A gasp is like a big breath. That's gasping. Long, heavy gasps. As though striving. Striving means trying really hard. As though striving to get her lungs full of every breath. As I came close, she put up her hand in her sleep and pulled the collar of her nightdress close around her, as though she felt cold. And I flung the warm shawl over her. To fling something is to throw it very quickly and not very carefully. Fling, flung, flung. Fling, flung, flung. It's an irregular verb. I flung the warm shawl over her and drew the edges tight around her neck. So we've seen that word draw many times, and it doesn't mean making a picture here. It means pulling. I drew it around her. What did she say? I drew the edges tight around her neck. I pulled the edges tight around her neck. For I dreaded lest she should get some deadly chill from the night air, unclad as she was. To be clad means to be covered, so unclad means to be uncovered. I feared to wake her all at once, so in order to have my hands free to help her, I fastened the shawl at her throat. To fasten something means to connect it. So, here, this is me. This is me fastening my watch. That's fastening your watch. You can fasten a necklace or a bracelet. If you fasten clothes, probably you fasten buttons. If you're buttoning your shirt, that's fastening the buttons, fastening your shirt. But here she's fastening a shawl, so probably she's tying it to make it secure. I feared to wake her all at once, so in order to have my hands free to help her, I fastened the shawl at her throat with a big safety pin. Oh, she used a safety... How did she get a safety pin? Where did she get a safety pin from? Let me show you a picture of a safety pin, in case you don't know what that is. So I don't know where she got that from. They're in a graveyard in the middle of the night. In the 1890s. Where did the safety pin come from? I feared to wake her all at once, so in order to have my hands free to help her, I fastened the shawl at her throat with a big safety pin. But I must have been clumsy in my anxiety and pinched or pricked her. A prick is like a little, like if you have the safety pin, if you did this, that's very small. It wouldn't be very painful. You would just say, "Ow, that hurts." That would be a prick. That would be a little prick. Or, if you try to, let's see. What would happen if you said, "Oh, what beautiful roses. I want some of these beautiful roses." And you grab the rose. What would happen is you probably would say, "Ow," because you would get a little prick from the thorns. That's what prick means. Even if you're getting like a vaccine or something, the doctor might say, "Okay, you're going to feel a little prick." That's what they would say. So I fastened the shawl around her throat with a big safety pin, but I must have been clumsy in my anxiety and pinched or pricked her with it. For by and by, when her breathing became quieter, she put her hand to her throat and again moaned. Moaned is, "Oh," that's moaning. When I had her carefully wrapped up, I put my shoes on her feet and then began very gently to wake her. Pachu says hello. Good morning, Pachu. How are you doing this morning? At first, she did not respond, but gradually she became more and more uneasy in her sleep. Moaning, that's moaning, and sighing, moaning and sighing occasionally. At last, as time was passing fast and for many other reasons, I wished to get her home at once. I shook her forcibly, till finally she opened her eyes and awoke. She did not seem surprised to see me, as of course she did not realize all at once where she was. Lucy always wakes prettily, and even at such a time when her body must have been chilled with cold, and her mind somewhat appalled. We've seen that word appalled before. That's like a bad surprise. That's uh, feeling surprised, but in a very, very bad way. So her mind somewhat appalled at waking up unclad. So clad means covered, and unclad means uncovered. So that's why she's appalled. I don't have any clothes on. She's wearing clothes, but not proper clothes for being outside. Her mind somewhat appalled at waking unclad in the churchyard at night. She did not lose her grace. She trembled a little and clung to me. Clung is when you hold something very tight. When I told her to come at once with me home, she rose without a word, with the obedience of a child. As we passed along, the gravel hurt my feet, and Lucy noticed me wince. Wince is a facial expression of pain. Oh, ow. She stopped and wanted to insist upon my taking my shoe, and she stopped and wanted to insist upon taking my shoes, but I would not. However, when we got to the pathway outside the churchyard, there was a puddle of water. A puddle is just a little... I better show you a puddle. It's just a very, very small body of water. See, these are puddles. Usually you will find puddles after the rain. Those are all puddles. However, when we got to the pathway outside the church, where there was a puddle of water remaining from the storm, I daubed my feet with mud, using each foot. Daubing is just... So if there's mud, she would just put her feet in the mud, like this. Daubing is, it's just putting something on like this. Like a woman who wears makeup. She would daub her face with makeup. I daubed my feet with mud, using each foot in turn on the other, so that when we went home, no one, in case we should meet anyone, should notice my bare feet. Fortune favored us. As we got home without meeting a soul... So again, earlier it said there wasn't a soul in the streets. You could say there was nobody in the streets, but it just sounds more extreme to say there wasn't a soul in the streets. It means absolutely no one, not even one person. And so we went home without meeting a soul, means there was absolutely not even one person that we saw or met. Oh, well, I changed my mind because it says, once we saw a man who seemed not quite sober. Sober is the opposite of drunk. So she's being polite. Instead of saying, we saw a drunk man, she's saying, we saw a man who was not quite sober. So that's a very polite way of saying he was drunk. Passing along the street in front of us. But we hid in a door till he had disappeared. Until he had disappeared up an opening, such as there are here, steep little closes, or wynds, as they're called, as they call them in Scotland. I don't know if it's wines or winds. My heart beat so loud all the time, sometimes I thought I should faint. I was filled with anxiety about Lucy, not only for her health, lest she should suffer from the exposure, but for her reputation in case the story should get wind. To get wind of something means to hear something through gossip. Like, I got wind of the company closing. That means I heard gossip that the company was closing. I got wind of their secret marriage. That means I heard gossip of their secret marriage. Wind is... right? So when people are gossiping, they're just making wind. When we got in and had washed our feet and said a prayer of thankfulness together, I tucked her into bed before falling asleep. She asked, even implored. Imploring is begging. Please, please. She even implored me not to say a word to anyone, even to her mother, about her sleepwalking adventure. I hesitated at first to promise, but on thinking of the state of her mother's health, and how the knowledge of such a thing would fret her, fret means worry, and think too of how such a story might become distorted, nay, infallibly would, in case it should leak out, I thought it was wiser to do so. I hope I did right. I've locked the door, and the key is tied to my wrist, so perhaps I shall not be again disturbed. Lucy is sleeping soundly. To sleep soundly means to sleep in a very good way, so that nothing is disturbing you. That's a very good sleep. Oh, how did you sleep last night? Soundly. That means in a very good way. Nothing bothered me, nothing disturbed me. I woke up feeling very refreshed. The reflex of the dawn is high and far over the sea. Same day, noon. All goes well. Lucy slept till I woke her, and seemed not to have even changed her side. The adventure of the night does not seem to have harmed her. On the contrary, it benefited her. For she looks better this morning than she does than she has done for weeks. Paccio is asking about the word infallible. Well, that word foul, when you see that, foul kind of means like making a mistake or something is missing or something isn't correct. So infallible means can't make a mistake. It's another way of saying perfect, actually. Where was that? I don't remember that word, infallible. Where did you see that? I don't see it. Oh well, I can't find it. We'll just have to continue. Same day, all goes well. Lucy slept till I woke her and seemed not to have changed her side. The adventure night does not seem to have harmed her. On the contrary, it's benefited her, for she looks better this morning than she has done for weeks. I was sorry to notice that my clumsiness with the safety pin hurt her. Indeed, it might have been serious, for the skin of her throat was pierced. Oh, it's with it distorted? I remember distorted, but I don't infallibly would. Where was that? Nay, infallibly would. Okay. Well, actually, okay, let me read that again. So I hesitated at first to promise, but I'm thinking of the state of her mother's health and how the knowledge of such a thing would fret her, would worry her, and to think so, and of how much a story might become distorted. So distorted means changed. And then you have this word nay, which is not contemporary English, so you shouldn't really try to think about using it, but it means it's a way of signaling that you've changed your mind or you have something to add. So I didn't want to promise not to tell her mother because it's serious that she's sleepwalking. That's very bad, and I should probably tell her mother, but Lucy wants me to promise not to tell her mother. So she's thinking, well, her mother's sick, and maybe if I told her something like that, that would make her mother feel worse. And then she's thinking, no, no, no. Nay. Nay means no, but it's a way of saying, no, it's different from that. Okay, so it's a signal that you're going to say. Now, the word infallibly here, fail, it comes from the same word. So this is like without fail. So here, actually, it's a little bit... Infallible means perfect, never makes a mistake. But this infallibly means without fail. No, like, so it kind of means definitely. No, it definitely would make her sicker. It would make her worse if I told her. So I'm not going to tell her mother, because her mother's very sick. And she's thinking, oh, if I tell her, that might make her condition worse. No, not might. Definitely, it would make her condition worse. Infallibly, it would make her condition worse. But you really probably wouldn't say that in a normal conversation. This is more book language. I was sorry to notice that my clumsiness with the safety pin hurt her. Indeed, it might have been serious, for the skin of her throat was pierced. When you say that something is pierced, we were talking about that, I think, yesterday. It means one thing goes through another thing. So if you get earrings, you pierce your ears. That means that it goes all the way through. And she's saying, Lucy was her friend. What is her? I forget. Mina. Mina was last night. She tied she tied a shawl around her neck and she used a safety pin. And she thinks that the pin pierced her neck. But it wasn't the safety pin. It was the vampire. Pachu says, not common word infallibly. It's not uncommon, but it's not really used too much in conversation. And fall is like fail, which means not perfect. So infallible means perfect, because it means cannot fail. I must have pinched up a piece of loose skin and have transfixed it. For there are two little red points, like pinpricks. So again, we have prick. That's a little sharp thing going in. Pinpricks. And on the band of her nightdress was a drop of blood. When I apologized and was concerned about it, she laughed and she petted me and said she did not even feel it. Fortunately, it cannot leave a scar. It's so tiny. Same day. We passed a happy day. The air was clear, the sun was bright, and there was a cool breeze. We took our lunch to Mulgrave Woods. Mrs. Westenra driving by the road, and Lucy and I walking by the cliff path and joining her at the gate. I felt a little sad for myself, for I could not but feel how absolutely happy it would have been had Jonathan been with me. But there, I must only be patient. In the evening we strolled into the casino terrace. A stroll is like a little walk, a nice little walk, a nice leisurely, relaxing walk. And since we're talking about that word, let me show you an object and then tell you what the name of it is. This is called a stroller. A stroller. Because this enables you to go for a nice little walk with the babies. That's why it's called a stroller. So to go for a stroll is to go for a nice little walk. Casual walk, relaxed walk, something like that. I must be only patient. In the evening we strolled in the casino terrace and heard some good music by Spohr and Mackenzie and went to bed early. Lucy seems more restful than she has been for some time and fell asleep at once. I shall lock the door and secure the key the same way as before, though I do not expect any trouble tonight. 12th of August. My expectations were wrong, for twice during the night I was wakened by Lucy trying to get out. She seemed, even in her sleep, to be a little impatient at finding the door shut, and went back to bed under a sort of protest. I woke with the dawn and heard the birds chirping. Chirping is the sound of birds. Chirp, 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 chirp. I can't do chirping. Really, that's chirping. That's how you do chirping. I heard the birds chirping outside of the window. Lucy woke too, and I was glad to see was even better than on the previous morning. All her old gaiety of manner seemed to have come back. And she came and snuggled in the bed. Snuggling is, I feel so comfortable. This is snuggling. She snuggled in the bed beside me and told me all about Arthur. I told her how anxious I was about Jonathan. And then she tried to comfort me. Well, she succeeded somewhat, for though sympathy can't alter facts, it can make them more bearable. 13th of August, another quiet day, and to bed with the key on my wrist as before. Again I awoke in the night and found Lucy sitting up in bed, still asleep, pointing to the window. And I got up quietly and pulling aside the blind, pulling aside the blind, looked out. It was a brilliant moonlight, and the soft effect of the light over the sky, over the sea and sky, merged together. When things merge together, they sort of blend together. They come together. Merge. Merge together in one great silent mystery. Was beautiful beyond words. Between me and the moonlight flitted a great bat. You know, we've talked about the word fluttering, which is the movement of a butterfly's wings. You know, it's kind of a nice, beautiful movement. But flitter, I guess, it's kind of the same word. Maybe it's faster or more chaotic or scarier. So you have flutter, that's like a butterfly, beautiful movements. But flitter is maybe a little bit crazier. It was a brilliant moonlight, and the soft effect of the light over the sea and sky merged together in one great silent mystery. It was beautiful beyond words. Between me and the moonlight flittered a great bat, coming and going. Great whirling circles, whirling circles, whirling. That's the movement of a circle. Once or twice it came quite close, but was, I suppose, frightened at seeing me, and flitted away across the harbor toward the Abbey. When I came back from the window, Lucy had lain down again and was sleeping peacefully. She did not stir again all night. Stir means move, so she didn't move again all night. 14th of August. On the East Cliff. Reading and writing all day, Lucy seems to have become as much in love with the spot as I am. And it's hard to get her away from it when it's time to come home for lunch or tea or dinner. This afternoon, she made a funny remark. We were coming home for dinner and had come to the top of the steps up from the West Pier and stopped to look at the view as we generally do. The setting sun, low down in the sky, was just dropping behind Kettleness. The red light was thrown over on the east cliff of the old abbey and seemed to bathe everything in a beautiful, rosy glow. We were silent for a while, and suddenly Lucy murmured as if to herself. Murmuring is very low, soft, unclear, speaking like that. Very soft, not very clear, very low. His red eyes again. They're just the same. It was such an odd expression coming apropos of nothing. Apropos means like appropriate. I think it comes from the same word, appropriate. So she's saying these words, but they're not appropriate to anything. They're not connected to anything. I mean, there they are, sitting on a bench looking at the beautiful sunset. And why is she talking about someone's red eyes? That's not connected to anything. It isn't appropriate to the situation. It's not connected to the situation. His red eyes again. They're just the same. It was such an odd expression, coming apropos of nothing, that it quite startled me. So she was surprised by that. I slewed round a little, so as to see Lucy well without seeming to stare at her, and saw that she was in a half-dreamy state, with an odd look on her face that I could not quite make out. To make something out, that's a phrasal verb, which means to distinguish, to understand the details of it. So Lucy she had a very strange expression on her face. And her friend Mina was thinking, what is it? Is she confused? Is she angry? Is she tired? I can't make out the expression. It means I can't define it. I can't I can't distinguish the details of it. She appeared to be looking over at one seat, whereon was a dark figure seated alone. I was quite a little startled myself, for it seemed for an instant as if the stranger had great eyes like burning flames. But a second look dispelled the illusion. So to dispel something means to make it go away. So at first, Mina thought, oh, that's some kind of monster. But as she looked more closely, that thought was dispelled. It went away. It was made to leave. The red sunlight was shining on the windows of St. Mary's Church behind our seat, and the sun dipped down there was just sufficient to change in the refraction and reflection to make it appear as if the light moved. I called Lucy's attention to the peculiar effect. Peculiar means strange. And she became herself with a start. So again, now start here does not mean begin. It means surprise. So Lucy's in this trance, and she's talking about weird things. His eyes are so red. And Mina says, hey, Lucy, look. And Lucy starts. That means she kind of jumps with surprise. So first she was concentrating in a weird state. And then when her friend hit her, she started. That's what it means here, to start. She became herself with a start. But she looked sad all the same. It may have been that she was thinking of that terrible night up there. We never refer to it. So I said nothing, and we went home to dinner. She had a headache and went early to bed. I saw her asleep and went out for a little stroll myself. I walked along the cliffs to the westward, and was full of sweet sadness. For I was thinking of Jonathan when coming home. It was then bright moonlight, so bright that, though the front of our part of the crescent was in the shadow, everything could be well seen. And I threw a glance up at the window and saw Lucy's head leaning out, and I opened my handkerchief and waved it. She did not notice or make any movement whatever, and just then the moonlight crept round an angle of the building, and the light fell on the window, and there, distinctly means very clearly, was Lucy with her head lying up against the side of the windowsill, and her eyes shut. She was fast asleep. And by her, seated on the windowsill, was something that looked like a good-sized bird. I was afraid she might get a chill, so I ran upstairs, but as I came into the room, she was moving back to her bed, fast asleep and breathing heavily. She was holding her hand to her throat, as though to protect it from the cold. I did not wake her, but tucked her up warmly. To tuck someone into bed is to put them in bed and then put the sheets over them so that they're comfortable. Here she's saying tuck up. I've never seen anybody say it like that. But I would say tuck in, which means you put the person in bed and then you put the sheets over them so they're nice and comfortable. I did not wake her, but I tucked her up warmly. I've taken care that the door is locked and the window is securely fastened. She looks so sweet as she sleeps, but she's paler than is her wont, and there is a drawn, haggard look under her eyes. Haggard means like sick and tired. And we know that drawn means like pull. So maybe like by saying drawn, it means like she has no energy. The energy has been taken from her. And haggard means like looking sick and tired. There's a drawn, haggard look under her eyes, which I do not like. So drawn, maybe it means pulled. I fear she is fretting about something. Fret means worried. I wish I could find out what it is. 15th of August. That's my birthday. 15th of August. Rose later than usual. Lucy was languid and tired. What is that word, languid? I've seen that before. I always forget what that word means. It's not a common word. It's not a word that you see very much. But I know I've looked up the meaning before. I've just forgotten. Relaxed, lacking energy or enthusiasm. Lucy was languid and tired, and slept on after we had been called. So we were talking about that preposition on, and sometimes in a phrasal verb, when it ends with the word on, that could mean continue. So you have go on, that means continue. That's very common for talking. If somebody's talking to you, blah, 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 blah. Go on, that means continue talking. Tell me more. Or maybe you've seen carry on, that means continue. And in the book, just a few paragraphs ago, we had run on, which means continue running. And here we have she slept on, which means continue sleeping. So they had been invited to breakfast, or they had been called to breakfast, but Lucy slept on. That means she continued sleeping. She didn't go to breakfast. We had a happy surprise at breakfast. Arthur's father is better and wants marriage to come off soon. Lucy is full of quiet joy, and her mother is glad and sorry at once. Later on in the day, she told me the cause. Even with later on, that phrase later on, that means, okay, we're talking about later, but continuing even later. That's not a phrasal verb, but later on means after something I told you, the story continues. Pachu says, go on, carry on, sleep on. Well, go on means continue going, and carry on means just continue. And sleep on means continue sleeping. So it depends on which verb you have as the front. What continue what? Lucy is full of quiet joy, and her mother is glad and sorry at once. Later on in the day, she told me the cause. She is grieved to lose Lucy as her very own, but she's rejoiced that she is soon to have someone to protect her. Poor dear sweet lady. She confided in me. When you confide in someone, it means you tell them a secret. So she told me a secret. She confided to me that she has got her death warrant. What? Wait, let's see. Oh, okay, so I guess the doctors have told her mother that she's dying. And that was a secret. So Lucy doesn't know. Only Mina knows that her mother is dying. She has not told Lucy and made me promise secrecy. Her doctor told her that within a few months, at most, she must die, for her heart is weakening. At any time, even now, a sudden shock would be almost sure to kill her. Ah, we were wise to keep her from the affair of the dreadful night of Lucy's sleepwalking. 17th of August. No diary for 2 whole days. I have not had the heart to write. Some sort of shadowy pall seems to have come over our happiness. We had that word pal the other day, but I forgot what it means, so I'm going to look it up again. Not a word that I would ever use. Covering. Okay, it means covering. Now I remember, now that I see the definition. So how did they use it here? A shadowy pall seems to be coming over our happiness. A cover, a dark cover, is going over our happiness. No news from Jonathan, and Lucy seems to be growing weaker, whilst her mother's hours are numbering to a close. I do not understand Lucy's fading away as she is doing. So fading means to go from strong to weak. If you're on the telephone, a cell phone, maybe your signal could fade, or the voice on the phone could fade. Or if you wash something colorful many, many times, the colors will fade. The colors go from strong to weak. But when you talk about fade away, these are all things in stages. Like if you wash the clothes day after day or week after week, suddenly the color, the colors fade in stages. But fade away is more of a gradual continuum. So it just goes from you're fading, oh, that's fading away, going from strong to weak. It not in stages, but like I forget the word for that. I'll just say continuum. Spectrum. I think that's what they call it. I don't know. Continuum. I'm going to say continuum. So fading away, that could mean like if somebody is sick. When they're healthy, they look nice, they look healthy. But as the sickness becomes stronger, the person starts to become weaker and weaker and almost like they're dying and they fade away. That's what's happening to Lucy. She's fading away. You can, if you talk about a day going, if you want to be very dramatic, you can talk about how the day is fading away. It was going from a wonderful, beautiful day to something dark and maybe not so good. Fading away. Where was that? Okay. I do not understand Lucy's fading away as she is doing. She eats well, and she sleeps well, and she enjoys the fresh air, but all the time the roses in her cheeks are fading. And she's getting weaker and more languid, day by day, and at night I hear her gasping as if for air. So gasping, that's gasping. I keep the key of our door always fastened to my wrist. So remember, fastened is when something is connected. So here I'm going to fasten my watch. Oh, see, fasten. It's fastening my watch. It's like connecting. You fasten necklaces and bracelets. You fasten bracelets. You fasten the buttons on your shirt. That's fastening. It's like connecting. I keep the key of our door always fastened around my wrist at night. But she gets up and walks about the room and sits at the open window. Last night, I found her leaning out when I woke up, and when I tried to wake her, I could not. She was in a faint. When I managed to restore her, she was weak as water, and cried silently cried silently between long, painful struggles for breath. When I asked her how she came to be at the window, she shook her head and turned away. I trust her feeling ill may not be from the unlucky prick of the safety pin. I looked at her throat just now as she lay asleep, and the tiny wounds seem not to have healed. They're still open, and if anything larger than before, So the two pricks, Mina thinks she did that with a pin, and she thinks, oh, it's nothing. but now they seem bigger. They're getting worse. And the edge of them are faintly white. They're like little white dots with red centers. Unless they heal within a day or two, I shall insist on the doctor seeing about them. Letter, Samuel F. Billington and Son, Solicitors, Whitby, to... I looked up this word before. You see this in old letters. I think it's plural for misters, but let me check. Yeah, it's plural for misters. So... Well, actually, I'm asking ChatGPT, and it says to pronounce it Messers. I think that's weird. I'm going to pronounce it Misters. I don't care what ChatGPT says. So they say to Misters Carter, Patterson and Company, London. 17th of August. Dear Sirs, herewith please receive invoice of goods sent by Great Northern Railway. Same are to be delivered at Carfax near Purfleet, immediately on receipt at goods station King's Cross. The house is at present empty, but enclosed. Please find keys, all of which are labeled. Okay, so this is written in very official legal language. It's a little bit annoying to try to understand. You will please deposit the boxes, 50 in number, which form the consignment. So it's very precise, exact language. Which form the consignment in the partially ruined building forming part of the house and marked A on the rough diagrams enclosed. Don't worry if you don't understand it, because it's kind of annoying to try to read this. It's just something lawyers understand. I mean, I can understand it, but it's not worth trying to explain it. It's too complicated, and normal people don't talk like this. Your agent will easily recognize the locality, as is the ancient chapel of the mansion. As it is the ancient chapel of the mansion, the goods leave by train at 9:30 tonight, and will be due at King's Cross at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. As our client wishes the delivery made as soon as possible, we shall be obliged by your having teams ready at King's Cross at the time named, and forthwith conveying the goods to destination. In order to obviate any delays possible through any routine requirements as to payment in your departments, we enclose check herewith for £10, receipt of which please acknowledge. Should the charge be less than this amount, you can return balance. If greater, we shall at once send check for difference on hearing from you. You are to leave the keys on coming away in the main hall of the house, where the proprietor may get them on his entering the house by means of his duplicate key. Pray, do not take us at exceeding the bounds of business courtesy in pressing you in all ways to use the utmost expedition. See, that just means hurry up. But that's just annoying. We are, dear sirs, faithfully yours, Samuel F. Billington and Son. So these are instructions, and I guess, you know that ship that landed, that crashed onto the shore and had the mysterious boxes in it, that I think that the lawyers claimed, because it was written, there was a record that the boxes on the ship were to be property of some lawyers in London or someplace. And so they claimed it. They took the boxes. And now this is a letter instructing someone else to take the boxes are being delivered to a house somewhere. And these are instructions to the people on how to deliver the box and where to pick them up. Letter Mr. Carter, Misters Carter, Patterson and Company, London, to Misters Billington and Son, Whitby, 21st August. Dear Sirs, we beg to acknowledge £10 received, and to return check of £1, 17, I guess that's shillings, I don't know, 9, I don't know what the D is for weird old Victorian money. Let's just say that. Amount of overplus, as shown in receipted account herewith. Goods are delivered in exact accordance with instructions, and keys left in parcel in main hall, as directed. We are, dear sirs, yours respectfully, Pro Carter, Patterson, and Company. Okay, Mina Murray's journal. So we're back to normal language now. Thank God. I'm happy today, and I write sitting on the seat in the churchyard. Lucy is ever so much better. Last night, she slept well all night and did not disturb me once. The roses seem coming back already to her cheeks. These are cheeks, by the way. So there's color returning to her cheeks, rose color. Though she is still sadly pale and wan-looking. If she were in any way anemic, I could understand it, but she's not. She's in gay spirits and full of life and cheerfulness. Let's look up the word anemic. That's a word you see sometimes. I've heard that word before, although I'm not exactly sure what it means. It's a medical term. A person with low red blood cell count, but in a figurative way or an abstract way, it means weak, lacking energy, or insufficient. But it isn't really a common word in conversation. You could use it, and then people will say, wow, you have such a fancy vocabulary. What does that mean? Ben says, what does wan-looking mean? We've had that word before in other books, and I think that means like sick-looking, but I just want to double-check that. Again, that's not something that you would say ever in normal conversation. But it doesn't hurt to check the definition of it again. Pale, tired, or weak. Okay, but you could never go up to a normal person and say, you look wan. People will say, what? What are you talking about? So it's a word that you see in books, but it's not a word that people use in conversation. I don't remember where I saw. I think maybe that was when we did 1984. I think that they used that word, or maybe it was David Copperfield. I don't remember. But we have used that before. If she were in any way anemic, I could understand it, but she's not. She's in gay spirits and full of life and cheerfulness. All the morbid reticence seems to have passed from her. Morbid has something to do with something bloody or scary or frightening. And reticent means to be cautious or hesitant. But let's see. Morbid. First, let's define morbid, because I don't like my definition. It's a pretty common word, though. People use it quite a bit for ugly things, very unpleasant things. Morbid means having an unusual interest in disturbing, unpleasant, or gloomy subjects. Sad, depressing, things like that. And reticence, let's define that. Reserved, quiet, unwilling to share thoughts or feelings. So a morbid reticence, that would be like she doesn't want to talk, and it's kind of scary. It's a little bit scary for people. Normally she likes to talk. Now she's being very secretive, and it's causing people to worry in sort of a scared or frightened way. By the way, if you've ever seen a car accident, have you ever had the experience where you've seen a horrible accident in the street. And it's pretty common that, even though it's horrible to do, people will look as they're walking by to see what happened. And that's called morbid curiosity. So you're curious about something very unpleasant or ugly or scary. I like to watch horror films, not because I think they're scary. I actually think they're funny. But people maybe would say I have a morbid fascination with horror films. All the morbid reticence. So reticence. She doesn't want to talk. She's very quiet, and it's morbid. It kind of disturbs people. It causes people to feel afraid or worried. Seems to pass from her. And she just reminded me, as if I needed any reminding, of that night, that it was here on this very seat I found her asleep. As she told me, she tapped playfully the heel of her foot on a stone slab and said, "My poor little feet didn't make such a noise then. I dare say poor old Mr. Swales would have told me that it was because I didn't want to wake up Geordie. I didn't want to wake up Geordie." As she was in such a communicative humor means mood. So since she was in a mood for talking, I asked her if she had dreamed at all that night. So that night that she walked in her sleep to the edge of the cliff where the graveyard was, and Mina came and rescued her, they've never really talked about it. But now it seems like Lucy wants to talk about it, and Mina's thinking, well, since she's in such a talky mood, how did she say it? Since she's in a communicative humor, that means a mood for talking. I asked her if she had dreamed that night. Before she answered, that sweet, puckered look came into her forehead. Pucker is when things come together. So if you eat a lemon, then maybe you go like this. This puckered lips. If you want to kiss someone, you tell them, pucker up. Like, prepare your lips for a kiss. Pucker up. So pucker is when things come together. Did you ever spend a lot of time in water, like taking a bath or swimming? And when you get out, if you spend many hours in the water, your skin there'll be a lot of lines and wrinkles. That's puckered skin. So when it says that her forehead puckered, that means it went like this. I can't. Well, it comes together. I don't know how. Maybe like that. Let's see. Before she answered, that sweet puckered look came into her forehead. Maybe like that, the eyes coming together. With Arthur. I call him Arthur from her habit. Says he loves, and indeed, I don't want that he does. What? I don't understand this. Let me read this again. Before she answered, that sweet puckered look came into her forehead, which Arthur, I call him Arthur from her habit, says he loves. Okay, so Arthur, some guy who's in love with her, says he loves it when she does that. And indeed, I don't wonder that he does. And she says, well, I'm not surprised. I think it's kind of nice. She looks very nice when she does that. Then she went on in a half-dreaming kind of way. So here we have go on, went on. That means then she continued talking in a half-dreaming kind of way, as if trying to recall it herself. I don't quite dream, but it all seemed to be real. I only wanted to be here in this spot. I don't know why, for I was afraid of something. I don't know what. I remember, though I suppose I was asleep, passing through the streets and over the bridge. A fish leaped. That means jumped. A fish leaped as I went by. And I leaned over to look at it. And I heard a lot of dogs howling. Howling is, oh, that's howling. The whole town seemed as if it must be full of dogs, all howling at once. At once means at the same time. As I went up the steps, then I had a vague memory. Vague means very unclear. It's not clear. Then I had a vague memory of something long and dark with red eyes, just as we saw in the sunset, and something very sweet and very bitter all around me at once. Again, at once means at the same time. And then I seemed sinking into a deep green water, and there was a singing in my ears, as I have heard there is to drowning men. So maybe there's a myth that when you're drowning, that means you're dying because you're in the water. You know, you have to go up for air, but if you can't, you drown. You die in the water. That's drowning. So maybe there's a myth that when you're drowning, you hear some sweet music. I don't know. That's what I'm understanding from what she's saying. I've never heard that before. My soul seemed to go out from my body and float about the air. I seem to remember that once the West Lighthouse was right under me, and then there was a sort of agonizing feeling. That word agony means pain, a painful feeling, like a feeling of torture. Then there was a sort of agonizing feeling, as if I were in an earthquake. And I came back and found you shaking my body. I saw you do it before I felt you. And then she began to laugh. It seemed a little uncanny to me. Now, uncanny, that's an interesting word. It's started to be used quite a bit to describe a certain phenomenon, but uncanny means giving you a very strange feeling. Making you feel uncomfortable. It seemed a little uncanny to me, and I listened to her breathlessly. I did not quite like it, and I thought it better not to keep her mind on the subject. So we drifted onto another subject. You know, we were talking about the word drift the other day. Yesterday. It was yesterday. And because we were talking about the boat, the mysterious boat that came up to the shore. Let's see if I can find a picture. Because now, in this case, it's being used abstractly. So, first we'll talk about the literal meaning of drift, and then we can talk about how they're using it here. So, you know, if you imagine this piece, you can imagine how the water is just kind of moving. So you see that piece of wood, it's also moving, but very slowly. Maybe you don't even notice that it's changing positions. It's just drifting on the water. And you can use it in a more abstract way, like drifting off to sleep. Can you imagine that? That would be like, you know, the slow moving, drifting away, drifting off to sleep. Well, what do you think it means in a conversation to drift off the topic? That just means to very slowly, in a very unnoticeable way, move to a different topic. That's how they're using it here. Because Mina is saying, well, I don't want her talking about this anymore. This is a bad thing to talk about. So we drifted off the topic. We drifted. How did she say it? Let's read it again. I did not quite like it and thought it better to keep her mind on the subject. Not to keep her mind on the subject. So we drifted on to another topic. So she didn't change right away. Slowly, she led her to a different topic. And Lucy was like her old self again. And when she got home and the fresh breeze had braced her up, and her pale cheeks were really more rosy, her mother rejoiced when she saw her, and we all spent a very happy evening together. 19th of August. Joy, 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 although not all joy. At last, news from Jonathan. The dear fellow has been ill. That is why he did not write. I'm not afraid to think it or say it now that I know. Mr. Hawkins sent me on the letter. It's funny, we keep seeing this word on meaning continue. So we had go on, that could mean like continue talking, continue walking. Carry on could just mean continue whatever you're doing. Run on means continue running. And here it says, Mr. Hawkins sent me on the letter. So Mr. Hawkins received a letter from Jonathan, and he continued that letter to Mina. So he sent the letter on to her. So again, that word on means continue here. And wrote Jonathan himself, oh, so kindly, I'm to leave in the morning and go over to Jonathan and to help to nurse him if necessary and to bring him home. Muhammad says hello. Hello, Muhammad. I have a link to my Discord now in the description. I don't know if it will work, but I remembered to put it. I started 5 minutes late because I said, "Oh no, I forgot to put the link," and I tried to find how to do it. So, if you have Discord and you want to try to find me, give it a try and see if it works. I hope it works. Okay, let's see. Anybody can join. I don't know. Pachu, do you want to practice today? Do you feel like practicing when we finish? I think we're almost finished with this chapter. But what we've been doing is practicing pronunciation and some of the vocabulary words that we've learned for about an hour after we finish the chapter. So, and I think we're getting close to the end. I don't see it. And I don't know what page I'm on. Oh well, I think it's very close though. So, the more people who are on the Discord server, the more opportunities we can have to practice and do different things. And Pachi says he wants to practice today. So when we finish the chapter, I don't know where it is. I'm not going to look for it. I'll lose my spot. But we'll be practicing for about an hour. Pronunciation mostly, but also vocabulary. Okay, so let's continue reading. Mr. Hawkins says it would not be a bad thing if we were to be married out there, and I've cried over the good sister's letter till I can feel it wet against my bosom where it lies. It is of Jonathan, and must be near my heart, for he is in my heart. My journey is all mapped out, and my luggage ready, and I'm only taking one change of dress. Lucy will bring my trunk to London and keep it till I send for it may be that I must write no more. I must keep it to say to Jonathan, my husband, the letter has been seen and touched. The letter that he has seen and touched must comfort me till we meet. Letter, Sister Agatha, Hospital of St. Joseph, and St. Mary, Budapest, to Miss Wilhelmina Murray, 12th of August. Dear Madam, I write by desire of Mr. Jonathan Harker, who is himself not strong enough to write, though progressing well, thanks to God and St. Joseph and St. Mary. He has been under our care for nearly 6 weeks, suffering from a violent brain fever. He wishes me to convey his love. Convey means to transfer. So when it says he wishes for me to convey his love, that means he cannot give his love to her, but the woman can write the letter and express it, transfer the idea to her. You use that word convey a lot for the idea. To convey an idea means to explain an idea so that other people can understand it. To transfer the idea from one person to another person. He wishes me to convey his love, and to say that by this post I write for him to Mr. Peter Hawkins, Exeter, to say, with his dutiful respects, that he is sorry for his delay, and that all of his work is completed. He will require some few weeks' rest in our sanatorium in the hills. That word sane, that means health. That has something to do with health. And so a sanatorium is a place to get healthy. That's like a hospital. Well, you know what? Because I'm thinking salu means health. But let me see. Sanatorium. An institution to recover from chronic illness. Maybe san means clean. Let's see. Sanare, to heal, to make better, to make healthy. Okay, yeah, it's about health. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Mohammed says I joined your Discord. Thank you, Mohammed. Maybe we can practice one of these days. If you want to. If you're interested. He will require some few weeks of rest in our sanatorium. So that's like a hospital in the hills. But will then return. He wishes me to say that he has not sufficient money with him, and that he would like to pay for his staying here, so that others who need shall not be wanting for help. Believe me, yours with sympathy and all blessings, Sister Agatha. P.S. That means postscript. Post means after, and script means writing. So she's already written the letter, but now she's had another idea that she wants to add. So that's when you put P.S. That means, oh, I forgot. That's really what it means. That's when you put P.S. That means, oh, I forgot. Here's something extra. My patient being asleep, I open this to let you know something more. He's told me all about you, and that you're shortly to be his wife. All blessings to you both. He has had some fearful shock, so says our doctor. And in his delirium, his ravings have been dreadful. Ravings are like saying crazy things, saying weird, crazy things. Of wolves and poison and blood, of ghosts and demons, and I fear to say of what. Be careful of him always, that there may be nothing to excite him of this kind for a long time to come. The traces of such an illness as his do not lightly die away. We should have written long ago, but we know nothing of his friends, and there was nothing on him, nothing that anyone could understand. He came in the rain from Klausenburg. And the guard was told by the station master that he rushed into the station, shouting for a ticket for home. Seeing from his violent demeanor that he was English, they gave him a ticket for the furthest station on the way thither, and the train reached. Be assured that he is well cared for. He has won all hearts by his sweetness and gentleness. He's truly getting on well. So here's getting on. Again, we have the word on, which means continue. And to get on means to continue in a good way. So he's becoming healthier. He's improving. That's what it means here. And it has this idea of getting on. Pachi is asking about the word demeanor. And demeanor is like your body language. It's how you appear, how you sit, how you hold your head. So, where was that? I don't remember. Oh, here. Seeing from his violent demeanor that he was English, violent demeanor, well, they gave him a ticket for the furthest station on the way thither that the train reached. Violent demeanor. I don't know why she says violent demeanor. Well, let me see if there's another way that you could define demeanor. But to me, demeanor. Let's see. A person's outward behavior, attitude, or manner. But I don't know why she's saying his violent demeanor. They realized he was English because of his violent demeanor. That doesn't make any sense to me. Oh well, I don't know. But it's like your body language. Dr. Seward's Diary, 19th of August. Strange and sudden change in Renfield last night. About 8 o'clock, he began to get excited and sniff about as a dog does when setting. The attendant was struck by his manner, and knowing my interest in him, encouraged him to talk. He's usually respectful to the attendant and at times servile, but tonight the man tells me he was quite haughty. Haughty means to be to not listen to authority, to ignore authority. Wait, I better get a better definition of that. I don't like my definition. Arrogant, disdainful, overly proud. Yeah, so I mean, he's a patient, he's a crazy person in a mental institution, a mental hospital. And normally he's servile, which means he obeys orders. But now suddenly he's very haughty. He doesn't obey orders. He doesn't listen to the doctors or the employees at the hospital. Huh, I don't have to listen to you. Who are you? That's what haughty means. He's usually respectful to the attendant and at times servile, but tonight the man tells me he was quite haughty. Would not condescend to talk with him at all. All he says was, I don't want to talk to you. You don't count now. That means you don't matter now. The master is at hand. If something is at hand, it means it's very close. So before he was very meek and timid and listened to orders. Suddenly he's got all this courage. He's very haughty. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. The master is at hand. He's very close. The attendant thinks it's some sudden form of religious mania. Mania means like craziness. Some kind of religious craziness, which has seized him. Seize means take. If so, we must look out for squalls. For a strong man with homicidal and religious mania at once might be dangerous. The combination is a dreadful one. I don't know what that word squalls means. A squall. Sharp increases in wind speed. Why do they say that? We must look out for squalls. We must look out for sudden wind. I don't know what that means here. If so, we must look out for squalls. For a strong man with homicidal and religious mania at once might be dangerous. The combination is a dreadful one. At 9 o'clock I visited him myself. His attitude to me was the same as that to the attendant, in his sublime self-feeling. The difference between myself and the attendant seemed to him as nothing. It looks like religious mania, and he will soon think that he himself is God. The infinitesimal distinctions between man and man are too paltry for an omnipotent being. These infinitesimal, the word infinite means it continues forever. It doesn't have an end. So infinitesimal I guess would be like an adjective. Let's see. Oh, I thought it was very small. I mean, I was thinking of the word infinite meaning very big, but then something in my head was saying, no, it means very small. But then I thought, how could that mean? Because if it's infinite, well, I don't know. But actually, it means the opposite. It means very, 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 very small. So small that you can't even see it. These infinitesimal distinctions, those very small distinctions between man and man are too paltry. I think paltry means insignificant, but let's just make sure about that. That's why I check, because sometimes I'm wrong. That's kind of embarrassing. What can you do? Insignificant. Yeah, paltry means insignificant. These infinitesimal distinctions between man and man are too paltry for an omnipotent being. Omnipotent means knows everything. How these madmen give themselves away. The real God taketh heed lest a sparrow fall. But the God, created from human vanity, sees no difference between an eagle and a sparrow. Oh, if men only knew. Now, we've had the word heed before. So it says, the real God taketh heed lest a sparrow fall. So taking heed means paying attention, and lest is a signal that you're going to name something you're afraid of. So if we were going to say this in normal words, it would be, the real God is very careful to not even let a sparrow fall from the sky. But the God created from human vanity sees no difference between an eagle and a sparrow. I just don't even understand what he's saying there, to be honest with you. For half an hour or more, Renfield kept getting excited in greater and greater degree. I did not pretend to be watching him, but I kept strict observation all the same. All at once. So remember, we've seen that phrase several times. At once means at the same time. So all at once, at the same time, a shifty look. Shifty look is like... A shifty look came into his eyes, which we always see when a madman has seized an idea. So seize means takes. When a madman has suddenly a crazy idea. And with it, the shifty movement of the head back, which the asylum attendants come to know so well. So suddenly he gets an idea. I have an idea. Is anybody watching? Shifty look. He became quite quiet, and went and sat on the edge of his bed resigningly. To resign means to quit or give up. So he sat on his bed and gave up, and looked into space with a lackluster eyes. Lack means missing, and luster means like shine, like no light. So lackluster eyes means eyes with no light. I thought I would find out if his apathy were real or only assumed. Apathy means like having no feelings. Oh, I better make sure about that. Lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern. So he's not interested in anything around him. He's just in his mind. I thought I would find out if his apathy were real or only assumed. So he wanted to know, was he really not paying attention to the world around him? or was he just pretending? And tried to lead him to talk of his pets, a theme which had never failed to excite his attention. At first he made no reply, but at length said testily. Testily means being very annoyed. Bother them all. I don't care a pin about them. What? I said. You don't mean to tell me that you don't care about spiders? Spiders at present are his hobby, and the notebook is filling up with columns of small figures. To this he answered enigmatically. An enigma is something that you cannot figure out, something you cannot understand. So he answered enigmatically, The bride maidens rejoice the eyes that wait the coming of the bride. But when the bride draweth nigh, and the maidens shine, not to the eyes that are filled. Okay, well, this is a little bit complicated. First of all, he's saying that he said something enigmatically because he's talking about weird things that nobody will understand. Where is this coming from? But he's using an older form of English. It's the kind of English that maybe you would see in the Bible. And it's a little bit hard to understand if you speak modern English. But let's see. The bridesmaidens rejoice. So the bride is the woman who's getting married, and the bridesmaidens are the girls. Well, let's see. Let's look at a picture. The word maiden or maid, it really just means young lady. So it could be used in a lot of different ways. So the woman in the middle, she's the bride, and the girls who are around her are the bridesmaids. So they're kind of like the support, the helpers, the assistants in the wedding. Like they're usually friends or relatives or something like that. Those are the bridesmaids. Okay, let's go back and try to decipher this. So the bridesmaidens rejoice. So the bridesmaids are very happy. The eyes that wait the coming of the bride. So they're very happy because the bride is coming. They're waiting because there's going to be a wedding and they're very excited. But when the bride draweth nigh, that means when the bride comes close, then the maidens shine not to the eyes that are filled. Okay, and I have no idea what that means. But that's why he's saying that he answered enigmatically. He answered like in a puzzle or a riddle. You can't really understand what he's talking about. Muhammad says maiden, not married women. Yes, that's true. That is true. It really just means young lady, but it's used also to talk about young ladies who are not married. You wouldn't call an old lady who's not married a maiden, because it's just a term used for younger ladies. He would not explain himself, but remained obstinately seated on his bed all the time I remained with him. I'm weary tonight and in low spirits. So weary means tired, and in low spirits means depressed or sad. So I'm tired and I'm sad. I'm weary tonight and in low spirits, and I cannot but think of Lucy and how different things might have been. I don't sleep at once. Chloral, the modern Morpheus. I must be careful not to let it grow into a habit. So I don't know what chloral is, but it's a type of drug, like heroin or something, to make you sleep. He's taking some kind of drug, and he's saying, I have to be careful. I don't want to be addicted to it. I must be careful not to let it grow into a habit. No, I shall take none tonight. I have thought of Lucy, and I shall not dishonor her by mixing the two. If need be, tonight I shall be sleepless. Later. Glad I made the resolution. Gladder that I kept to it. To make a resolution is to make a decision. I'm glad I decided not to take that drug tonight. So I'm glad I made that decision, and then I'm glad that I was honest and I didn't take the drug. I had lain tossing about. Tossing, when you're tossing in bed, that's when you can't sleep and you go, oh, this is tossing in your sleep. Muhammad says, I can't see the line you're reading. Okay, I'll make it lower. Are you watching this on a phone or something? Because it seems like you should be able to see it. But I'm just making it lower. I think you can probably see it now. I'll try to keep it at this level. Later, glad I made the resolution, gladder that I kept to it, I had lain tossing about and had heard the clock strike only twice. When the night watchman came to me, sent up from the ward. A ward is an area of a hospital. So, if you go to a modern hospital, you might have the cancer ward. That's where they treat cancer. You might have the children's ward. That would be the place where they keep children. You might have a ward for older people. So it's like an area of a hospital. When the night watchman came to me, sent up from the ward, to say that Renfield had escaped, I threw my clothes on at once and ran down at once. My patient is too dangerous a person to be roaming about. To be roaming about means to be walking around without any purpose. To roam means to just go around with no reason. Those ideas of his might work out dangerously with strangers. The attendant was waiting for me. He said he had seen him not 10 minutes before, seemingly asleep in his bed, and when he looked through the observation trap in the door, his attention was called by the sound of the window being wrenched out. He ran back and saw his feet disappear through the window, and had at once sent for me. So here at once means immediately. How many... I thought this was a... Wait, is this... Okay, I think there's only one page left. Because I think this has been 2 hours already. I thought this was a short chapter, but it seems pretty long. The attendant was waiting for me, and he said he had seen him not 10 minutes before, seemingly asleep in his bed. And when he looked through the observation trap in the door, his attention was called by the sound of the window being wrenched out. He ran back and saw his feet disappear through the window, and had at once sent up for me. He was only in his night gear, and cannot be far off. The attendant thought it would be more useful to watch where he should go than to follow him, as he might lose sight of him whilst getting out of the building by the door. He's a bulky man. Bulky means kind of fat or kind of chubby. Bulk means big, a lot. Kind of means a lot, really. He's a bulky man and couldn't get through the window. I'm thin, so with his aid I got out, but feet foremost, as we were only a few feet above the ground, landed unhurt. The attendant told me the patient had gone to the left and had taken a straight line, so I ran as quickly as I could and got through the belt of trees. I saw a white figure scale high wall which separates our grounds from those of the deserted house. I ran back at once, told the watchman to get 3 or 4 men immediately and follow me into the grounds of Carfax, in case our friend might be dangerous. I got a ladder myself, and crossing the wall, dropped down on the other side. I could see Renfield's figure just disappearing through the angle of the house. So I ran after him. On the far side of the house, I found him pressed close against the old iron-bound oak door of the chapel. He was talking apparently to someone, but I was afraid to go near enough to hear what he was saying, lest I might frighten him. So we've seen that word lest. It's not very common in speech, but it's a signal to say, this is the thing I'm afraid of. This is the thing I don't want. So he says, he was talking apparently to someone, but I was afraid to go near. So the doctor didn't want to go close to him, lest I frighten him. So the thing I was worried about, the thing I was concerned about, was frightening him and making him run away. Chasing an errant swarm of bees is nothing to following a naked lunatic when the fit of escaping is upon him. After a few minutes, however, I could see that he did not take a note of anything around him, so ventured to draw nearer to him. So remember, this word draw means like pull or move towards or something like that. Mohammed says lest and at least. No, they're not the same. At least would mean like doing the minimum, but lest means this is the thing I'm afraid of. So, Mohammed, it's raining outside. Take an umbrella lest you get wet. And that means take an umbrella because I worry that you would get wet. I'm afraid you will get wet. I don't want you to get wet. Pachu says lunatic. We've had that word before, Pachu. Do you remember what that means, lunatic? Luna means moon. And a lunatic is a crazy person because they used to think that the light from the moon made people act crazy. Maybe it's true. Muhammad says moon? Yeah, moon. I don't know. Where are you located, Muhammad? What part of the world are you in, or what part of the world are you from? In Europe, it used to be, and maybe still is, people still talk about the moon making people crazy. They believe that when there's a full moon, that the light from the moon make people act weird. I guess it's true. Animals act weird on a full moon. The dogs, oh, they howl, but that's a common belief or superstition that the moon makes you crazy. So if you encounter a lot of crazy situations in one night, you might tell your friend, I think there must be a full moon tonight. That means everybody's acting crazy. Why are all these crazy things happening tonight? So in Egypt, do they consider the moon to make you crazy? Or is that just in Europe? Chasing an errant swarm of bees is nothing to following a naked lunatic when the fit of escaping is upon him. After a few minutes, however, I could see that he did not take note of anything around him, so ventured to draw nearer to him, and the more so as my men had now crossed the wall and were closing him in. I heard him say, I am here to do your bidding. To do someone's bidding means to do what they ask. It's something that, but you wouldn't say that in normal conversation because it's kind of like the relationship of a master to a slave. So if I say, you always do his bidding, that I'm implying you're his slave. So it's a very strong thing to say. It's the way a slave would talk to a master. I am here to do your bidding. I do whatever you ask. He even says master. I'm here to do your bidding, master. I am your slave. He even says slave. I am your slave. And you will reward me, for I shall be faithful. I have worshipped you long and afar off. Now that you're near, I await your commands, and you will not pass by me. Will you, dear master, in your distribution of good things? He is a selfish old beggar anyhow. He thinks of the loaves and fishes even when he believes he is in his real presence. His manias make a startling combination. When we closed in on him, he fought like a tiger. He is immensely strong, for he was more like a wild beast than a man. Pachu says to do someone's bidding. Yes, that means like your master orders you to do something, and then you say, yes, I will do it, master. That's kind of how it works. It's a very strong thing to say. Not normal in regular conversation. It's not normal in regular situations, normal real life. I never saw a lunatic in such a paroxysm of rage before, and I hope I shall not again. It is a mercy that we have found out his strength and his danger in good time. With strength and determination like this, he might have done wild work before he was caged. He's safe now at any rate. Jack Sheppard himself couldn't get free from the strait waistcoat that keeps him restrained. He's chained to the wall in the padded room. He cries. His cries are at times awful. But the silences that follow are more deadly still, for he means to murder in every turn and movement. Just now, he spoke a coherent word for the first time. Coherent means you can understand it. So incoherent means you can't understand it. But coherent means it was understandable. Just now he spoke coherent words for the first time. Just now he spoke words we could understand for the first time. I shall be patient, master. It's coming, coming, coming. So I took the hint and came to. I was too excited to sleep. But this diary has quieted me, and I feel I shall get some sleep tonight. Okay, wow, that was the end of chapter 8. That was much longer than I thought. I didn't think it was going to take so long. Okay. All right, so now Pachu is waiting to practice. So we will now switch from reading the chapter to pronunciation and practicing some of the vocabulary words that we've encountered. Mohammed wants to practice too. Mohammed, what do you think if we... Let's see. You said my name on Discord is Moha. Let's see. Do I see Moha anywhere? Moha says hello. So you've joined. Do I have to do anything to let you join, or are you just here? Do I have to invite you or something? I don't know. I'm still very new to Discord. I don't know. Let's see. Reaction, reply. I guess you're just here, right? So you've joined? I'm saying hello. Okay, Mohammed, I think that tonight, because I've been reading and I'm getting tired, and Pachu's been waiting to practice. So we'll probably tonight what we'll do is Pachu and I will practice pronunciation and words for about an hour. But maybe tomorrow, if sometime tomorrow when we do this, maybe you would like to try tomorrow. But I think it wouldn't be fair to to say to someone who's been waiting, oh, we can't do it. So let's try to make an appointment for maybe tomorrow or sometime that we can practice. Of course, it would be fun to have different types of people. Maybe you could even request something that you would like to practice. Okay, but now Pachu, are you still here? I haven't seen you type anything. Oh, you said to do someone's bidding, so you're still here, I hope. Now, let's see. But I don't see... I'm so lost on this. Wait, what if I click on this? Is this right? I don't see Pachu. What happened to Pachu? Pachu, are you here? Let's see. Can you type something? Are you on Discord? I don't see your name anywhere for some reason. It's like you've disappeared. Okay, well, anyway, I'm going to figure it out. Try to type something into Discord so I can try and find you. I have no idea what's going on here. But I'm going to take a break. Okay, so I will be back in 1 minute, and then we're going to do pronunciation and some vocabulary practice. If I can find him, I don't know where he is. Let's see. How do I turn this off? Okay. Uh-oh. Hello? Okay. I think we connected from the voice channel again, which to me is very strange. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to use this, but until then, it's going to be weird. Okay. All right, so now we're switching gears. We're going to be doing pronunciation and uh, let me just bring the screen up here. All right. And let me turn off my music. All right. Nothing has made me feel older than trying to use Discord. I just don't understand it. Well, I'll just have to keep using it, and then maybe I'll figure it out one of these days. Okay, so let's bring up a Word document here so we can practice. And let's find a word that we can practice using. How about, okay, sober. Let's start with that word. Do you remember that word, sober? That was one of the words that we encountered while reading chapter 8 of Dracula. Do you remember what that means?
Yeah. Sober means like sad or
Well, sober
like
sober is the opposite of drunk. Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah,
so if you
drunk,
say
yeah.
someone is drunk, then they're not sober. Sober means no. But here's the thing, sober can mean something else. It can mean serious. So and
Yeah.
it's used very often to mean serious. Someone who's sober. Wait here, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to help me with some sentences. Give 5 examples
Okay.
of sober, meaning serious. So we'll practice using it in the sense of serious, not in the sense of being drunk or the opposite of drunk. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
okay, so here I've got an example here. Let me just put it up here, and we'll practice pronunciation with this sentence that uses sober. Okay, so I know it will take a second for you to see what I have on the screen here. So I'm just going to read the sentence as we wait. And the sentence is, her tone was sober as she delivered the bad news. Her tone was sober
Okay.
as can you see it? Do you see it?
Yes. Yes.
What does that mean? Can you explain the meaning of this sentence?
Bad news. So her tone was saying, her tone was not serious
No, was serious.
as she delivered the bad.
Was serious, not serious. It's was serious. Sober means serious.
This means that her tone was not serious.
No, 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 not. Don't say not. It's not not. Her tone was serious. Her tone was serious when she delivered the bad.
Her tone was serious as she delivered the bad news.
Yeah, it's not serious. It's serious. That's what. Does that make sense? Do you understand the sentence?
Yeah, yeah, I got it. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
this is
go ahead.
yeah,
So that's like, I'm sorry, your cat is dead. So that's like a serious tone instead of, I'm sorry, your cat is dead. You see the difference in tone?
yeah. Okay, okay.
Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
tone. Yeah. Mm.
So her tone,
Yes, yes, I
tone
got
was
it. Oh,
serious. Is that pretty clear?
yeah, yes, yes, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Now, if we look at the first two words, her tone, her tone, her tone. What do you think about the vowel sounds in the first two words? Are they big vowel sounds or little vowel sounds? Her tone, her tone.
Yes. So, first, her has a small
Okay.
sound, and tone seems longer.
Uh-huh. And if I say the word tone very slowly, how many sounds do you hear inside the word? Tone. How many sounds?
Two,
Yeah, what are the two sounds?
tone.
Tone,
Oh,
tone. That finishes with a kiss. Tone.
yeah.
Can you say that?
Tone,
Uh,
tone.
big sound, and it's two sounds. Oh, oh,
Yeah.
or toe.
Oh,
Can you say the two words together?
her tone,
That's good.
own.
Okay. Her tone was. Her tone was.
Her, her tone was
Okay. What do you think about the word was? Does that have a big vowel sound in it? Was.
a words. Is
Wa- Is that a big vowel sound?
if you use single, then it is big.
Okay.
Otherwise, it is small.
Yeah, if it's not a very important word, it's small here. So we have
Yeah.
small, big, small. Her tone was.
Her, her tone was.
hmm Well, you could say was if you want, but probably most people will make it very small. And they will say her tone was.
Her tone was.
hmm
Her tone was.
Was.
Tone was.
It's very short, very small. Her tone was.
Yeah. Her tone was.
Now,
Was.
how about the next word? So that's that. First of all, that's small, big, small. Her tone was right. That's small, big, small.
Yeah.
And
A
then
small, biggest.
then we have sober, sober.
Sober.
hmm
So sober.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
two
the same.
sound.
Yeah, it's the same sound. Tone, sober.
Yeah, two.
Tone,
Yeah,
sober. Two.
like they are homophones.
Uh huh. Okay. Uh,
Tone,
and are they big sounds or little sounds? Sober. What? Tell me about the
yeah,
vowel sounds.
big sound.
All of them, both of them, or just one? Sober.
First,
Okay. What about the second one? Is that big?
small.
Okay. So we have the perfect big small pattern that English likes. Her tone was sober.
Yeah, tone was sober.
Hmm. Okay. How about as she? As she? As she?
As she, as she
But
is.
when you say
Yes,
she, you have to whistle a little bit. As she.
okay. As she,
Mm, That was
as she.
that was very clear. As she. Don't forget to whistle.
Uh,
So if you have as, is that a just alone? Just if that word is alone, as, is that a big sound or a little sound? As.
as a big sound.
It's a big sound, but how does it sound in the middle of a sentence or a phrase? Does it sound big? Her tone was sober as she.
Her tone was sober, sober,
Sober
she,
as she. Sober as she. Sober as she.
sober, sober, she,
Don't forget
sober,
to whistle.
she.
Don't forget to whistle. It's she.
Okay. Sober, she,
As she.
sober, she.
Can you say ah, ah, ah?
Yeah,
As she. As she.
as she,
That was,
as she,
that's good. That's how it should sound. As she. As she.
as she,
Yeah.
as she.
So here it's small. I mean, if you say the word as, it's a very big, long sound, but in the middle of a phrase, it becomes, most of the time, it would be a pretty small sound. Is she. What about she?
As she,
Is that a big sound or a little sound? She.
she, it's big sound.
Okay.
She.
Yeah, so luckily now we have the perfect pattern here of small big, small big, small big. Her tone was sober as she
Her tone was sober
as she,
and she,
as she.
as
That was good.
she,
Okay. And now we have delivered. Delivered.
deliver, delivered,
How many syllables? Delivered.
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 Three,
Okay.
three,
Are they big vowel sounds or little vowel sounds?
delivered, delivered. Is
Delivered.
a big sound.
Where? Which one is big? Are they all big?
Delivered.
Delivered.
D. Livered sounds bigger.
Okay, live.
Live.
Live sounds big. Live sounds big. How about d? D. Is that big or small?
D is should be strong.
It could be. It could be. Sometimes if you have a word with more than two syllables, it could have more than one strong sound. But that's why you should think of this big, small, big, small, big, small rhythm. Okay, so we have
Okay.
E.
So it is small.
Yeah, you make it small just to fit the rhythm, but it could be pretty big if you wanted to make it big. It could be. So, but
Yeah.
it's good to keep that big small rhythm if you can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she delivered. That fits the rhythm very well. Can you say it like?
She delivered.
Okay, she
Uh,
delivered.
she
Uh oh. Pachu has disappeared.
Hello, sir.
Okay, you're back. All right, try again.
Hello, sir.
Go
Uh,
ahead. Go ahead.
she delivered.
Okay. Her tone was sober as she delivered.
Her tone was sober as she delivered.
Okay. Delivered the. Delivered the. Delivered the.
Deliver, delivered the.
Okay.
Delivered the.
How will you say the next word?
It's a bad.
Okay. Is that a big sound or a little sound?
Yeah, it's a big sound.
Okay. Is it extra big?
Bad.
Why
Like
why is
extra.
it
Yes.
why is it extra big? What would be the reason? There are really two reasons why it should be extra big. Three, I could think of.
Because deep sound is there.
Because of the
Bad.
yeah, because of the D,
Yeah.
the a becomes bigger. But also
Yeah.
if you look, if you look at the word news, is that a big sound also? News.
News. Yeah.
Oh,
G sound
news.
there.
So what happens sometimes if you have two big sounds together, bad news, then always the first one will be even bigger. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter about the D because you have these two big sounds together. You usually will make the first one bigger. Bad news. Bad news.
So bad news.
Hmm.
Bad news.
Bad news.
Bad news.
Her tone was sober as she delivered the bad news.
Her tone was sober as she delivered the bad news.
Okay. Can you make a yes no question with that sentence?
So was her tone sober?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Was
Hmm. Go ahead.
was her was her tone sober?
Okay. Now, what happens to was? So, in our original sentence, her tone was sober. Is that a big word or a little word?
This was is big sound.
Uh-huh. In the sentence, her tone was sober. Is that a big sound or a little sound? Was.
Was, yeah, it's a small in the
Oh,
sentence,
okay.
but when you ask question,
Hmm.
then it is big, which
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Suddenly, her tone was sober. That sounds very small. But when you make the question, suddenly it's a very important word. So you say was, was her.
Was
Yeah, and then her,
her,
her. That word will attach to was her, was her,
was her,
was her
was her,
tone, was her tone, was
was her tone,
was her tone sober?
was her tone sober,
Was her tone sober as she delivered the bad news?
was was her tone sober as she delivered the bad news.
Okay, remember to whistle when you say she. We need more
Okay. Was her tone sober as she delivered the bad news?
Was her tone sober as she?
Or was her tone sober as she
Uh-huh.
delivered the bad news?
Okay, was her tone sober as she delivered the bad news?
Was her tone sober as she delivered the bad news?
You should try to make was a little bit bigger. Was her tone sober as she delivered the bad news?
Was her tone sour as she delivered the bad news.
Sober, sober.
Sober,
Mhm.
sober.
Was her tone sober as she delivered the bad news?
Was her tone sour as she delivered the bad news?
Okay.
As she
How would you answer no to that question?
so
Uh-oh.
okay,
Hello?
okay. So where is sentence, sir? I cannot see the
Oh,
sentence.
I deleted it. I already deleted it. So if I say was her tone sober as she delivered the bad news,
Yeah.
how would you answer no? How will you tell me no? No, her. Tell me no. You can do it with.
No. Okay. So no, her tone wasn't sober
Hmm.
as she delivered the bad news.
How does no and her sound in conversation a lot of times?
Uh, Noah, Noah,
No,
Noah,
nowhere, nowhere, nowhere.
Noah,
No, her
Noah.
tone wasn't sober as she delivered the bad news.
Okay. Noah, Noah, see,
No, her tone, no, her tone, no, her.
Noah tone,
Mm-hmm.
Noah tone. Yeah. No, Noah tone wasn't sober
Mm-hmm.
as he delivered the bad news.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to another word that we learned in chapter 8. That is infallible. Do you remember that word?
Yeah.
What does that mean, infallible?
Okay. So the root fail or
Yeah, like fail.
fall means not perfect.
Right. Well, fail. So fail means to make mistakes, right? Or to
Yeah.
do a bad job. Okay. So
Yeah.
if you put in front of that, that means not do a bad job, right? That's
Yeah.
negative,
No.
not do a bad job. And able means can. So
Yeah.
infallible means can't do a bad job, can't make a mistake, or perfect could mean perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Infallible. Perfect.
Does that make sense? What that means?
Yeah.
Can,
Yes. This means perfect.
it means
And
perfect.
there is no error. Yeah.
Okay. And so, can you read the sentence that's on the screen? What does it say?
Okay. So the doctor's advice seemed almost infallible.
What does that mean? What does that sentence mean?
So the doctor's suggestion is almost perfect.
Yeah, almost perfect. Okay. The doctors, the doctors, the doctors. There's a
Doctors.
three vowel sounds in that phrase. The doctors. Are any of those
Yeah.
sounds big or are they all small? The doctors.
Do- Doctor means big.
Which
Doctor.
big? Which one is big? Tell me which.
Yeah, it's a dog.
Da.
Is a first.
Okay, da.
Yeah.
So the other two are very
Here,
small. The doctors.
doctors.
The doctor.
Doctors.
Hmm. How about
Yeah, the doctor.
what about advice? Advice. Advice.
Advice.
Are those big vowel
Advice.
little vowel sounds? Advice.
Advice. Advice.
Huh?
Advice. Yeah,
Advice.
it's a big.
Both of them? There are two vowel sounds, two syllables in there. Are they both big?
Advice. Yeah, both. Advice.
Uh, advice. No, no, I don't think that they're both big. I think one is small and one is big. Which one do you think could be big? And which one do you think could be small? Advice. Which one is big and which one is small?
Yeah, the ad. Ad.
Is that big or small? Ad.
So sorry. So if it is in verb, we can stress on second syllable. So it should be vice, I think.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sorry. So if it is noun, it the stress on first syllable, add, and
Yeah.
if it is verb, it is on second syllable.
Oh, so you're saying if it's a noun, then the
Yeah,
advice. No,
stress on first.
no, that's not. That's
Yeah,
I don't know where you heard that, but the uh, that's not true. Advice. Advice is a noun, and it cannot be a verb. Let me. I'm just going to put two things up here. Okay, there are two different words. Okay, there's advice, which is a noun. Advice. This is a noun, and then
yeah,
verb, which is spelled differently and sounds differently. Okay, I don't know if you can see what I've typed up on the screen yet.
yes, 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 yes.
So the first one, number one, is a noun. And
Yeah,
do you remember that earlier today we were talking about the snake and the bee?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's the situation that we have here. So the accent is on the same syllable, but one word is a snake and one word is a bee. So how will you pronounce number one?
So uh, advice, advice,
Like
advice,
so
advice.
advice. And how would you pronounce number two?
Ad- so number two is advise, advise,
Advise, like a bee.
advise,
Advise.
advise,
What does that?
advise.
So, which one has a longer vowel sound? Number one or number two?
So yeah, it is two
Why?
because it has G sound.
Yeah, it has the vibration. Zzz. That makes the vowel sound longer. So, number one
Yeah.
is advice, and number two is advise.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so advice and advise. It's
Advise.
like
Don't forget to sound like a bee. Advise.
advise. It's advise.
Advise. But the accent is on the final syllable. It's never on the first syllable, ever. Advice. Advice. No, it's never that.
Okay, I got it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So one I think in that word advice, one of the syllables is very short and one is very long. Can you tell me which one is short and which one is long in duration?
advice, advice.
Hmm.
So advice, advice.
Yes, and the ad. Yeah, I'm just going to say the syllables. Okay, so you can hear it if I just say the syllables. It, I, I. Can't you hear that? That one is very small and one is very big.
Yeah,
I.
I,
Mm-hmm. I.
I,
Advice.
I, I is yeah
Mm-hmm.
longer.
Very big. Can you say that?
Yeah, advice, advice.
The doctor's advice. The doctor's advice.
The doctor's advice.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Doctor's advice.
How do you pronounce the next word in that sentence?
It is seemed,
Okay,
seemed.
I'm going to say that word, and I want you to think about is it a very big sound or a little sound? The vowel sound. Seemed. Seemed.
Se- Seemed. Yeah, big sound.
It's a big sound. Okay, so it's not seemed, but it must be seemed. Seemed.
Seemed.
Seem.
Okay, see.
Can you say it again?
Okay, seemed.
Seemed. Very big sound.
Seemed.
That was good. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Seemed. Seemed.
Seemed.
Okay.
Seemed.
So that's very big. The doctor's advice seemed. Can you say all of those words together?
Okay, so the doctor's advice seemed.
Okay, that's very good. That was really, really good. Say it again.
The doctor's advice
Seemed.
seemed
Okay. The doctor's advice seemed. Now we have almost. Almost.
almost,
This is a
almost.
now this is a funny word because sometimes you have the choice of saying almost, almost, or almost. Almost. You could do it either
Yeah,
way. Which one do you think
yeah,
is
almost.
Mhm. Go ahead.
So almost would be right. Almost, not almost. Is almost. Okay.
Okay, say there's two syllables. Say it if you make the first syllable big, how will that sound? How would you say that?
So almost,
Yeah, almost. Almost. What if you
yeah,
wanted to make
almost,
seconds? And that would be okay. Sometimes people will say it like that. What if you say almost?
almost,
You could do it
almost.
too. Which one do you think is better here? Which one, if you think about that rhythm of big, small, big, small, big, small, which one sounds better? Almost or
So
almost?
almost.
Yeah, because seemed is already really big. So it would be good to have a little rest and then make the next syllable big.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
seemed almost.
The seemed almost, seemed almost,
Yeah.
seemed
See, that,
almost.
that sounds better than seemed almost. That's too much. So you have to
Yeah,
rest a little bit. Seemed almost.
yeah, seemed almost.
The doctor's advice seemed almost.
So doctor's advice seemed almost
Okay. And now we have our vocabulary word. What is that word?
is infallible means not perfect.
No,
Sorry, perfect.
no, it means perfect. It doesn't mean not perfect. It means perfect. It means no mistakes. Perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you
perfect.
understand? It means the opposite of what you're saying.
Okay,
What
I
does
got it. Yeah.
what does infallible mean?
So infallible means perfect.
Yes. Yeah. So it means never make a mistake. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, never.
Infallible.
Um,
Infallible.
i- infallible,
Okay.
infallible.
Fallible. That's four syllables. Are they big syllables?
In
Syllables. Infallible.
so in fall, fall fall is big
Okay.
than other.
Big. Foul is big. What about the other ones? In. Is that big? In.
No, it's short.
Okay, so that's infal. Infal.
Yeah, infall,
Okay, and what about le? Le. Is that big? Infalle.
infallible. Yeah, it also small.
It's small. Infalle. How about bull? Bull. Bull.
Infallible, bull,
Bull. Is that
bull.
big? Is that syllable big? Bull. Bull. Bull.
I think it should be a little big because there is B sound. So B sound is like the a strong
Oh,
sound.
well, you're right, but that's after the syllable. Okay. So if
So
it were
sorry.
if it
So
were if it were love, then yes, but not bull. Bull, no.
okay. So last is small.
Okay, it is small. It is small. So that's infallible. Infallible.
Infallible.
Almost
Infallible.
infallible. Almost infallible.
Almost infallible.
The doctor's advice seemed almost infallible.
The doctor's advice seemed almost infallible.
Okay. How would you make a yes no question with that sentence?
So did the doctor's advice seem almost infallible?
Okay. And maybe you would want to put a little extra force on that word did. Maybe make that big because it's your question word, but also because you
Yeah.
have ID. Well, and if you have D, then that would make the vowel sound bigger anyway. But also it's an important word. It's a signal that you're making a question. So it's good to give it some emphasis. Did the doctor's advice seem almost infallible?
Okay. So did the doctor's advice seem almost infallible?
Make the I bigger. Did.
Di- did
Mm-hmm.
did
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Did the doctor's advice seem almost infallible?
Okay, that's good. And how would you answer no to that question?
So no, the doctor's advice didn't seem almost infallible.
Okay, that's good. So, what does the word sober mean?
So sober means serious.
Okay, what does infallible mean?
Infallible means perfect.
Okay, infallible means perfect, not perfect, but
Yeah.
perfect. The stress is on the first syllable.
So
Okay.
perfect,
Do you
per
perfect like that? Not perfect, but perfect. That is, if you say perfect, that is a verb, and perfect is an
okay. Oh, yes, I got it. Oh, yes, yes. It if it is verb, then it stays is on the second syllable, fact,
mhm.
and it is noun, then it is on first, per. Yes, the
That-
perfect.
that's right. So
So it, yeah,
if it's an
yeah,
adjective, then it's on the first syllable. Perfect, perfect,
yes.
perfect.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
and perfect is a verb. All right.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, okay.
What is the next word? Can you see the next word that's on the screen? What does that say?
So to confide means
No,
to
no.
share a secret.
Stroll. Stroll is next. Stroll. I'm just jumping ahead.
Yes. Okay. She likes to stroll along the beach every morning.
What does stroll mean? What does that word mean?
And a stroll is regarding the walking, a relaxed way.
Okay, like a relaxing walk, right?
Yeah.
So what does that mean if you say she likes to stroll along the beach every morning? What is the idea?
Uh, means she likes to walk along the beach in a relaxed way.
Okay, yeah, so it's like relaxing for her. It's a nice relaxing thing that she does in the morning. Walk along the beach. She likes to stroll along.
Mm.
Is that pretty clear?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, now I'm going to say the first three words of that sentence, and I want you to think about the vowel sounds. Are they big vowel sounds or little vowel sounds? She likes to. She likes to. She likes to. Are those big
She
sounds?
likes to.
Are those big sounds or little?
So likes C is a small C.
She's.
C is also
Okay, don't forget to
yes.
whistle
C
when you say she.
is she as
That's good.
she.
That's better. Yeah. So she, is that a big sound or a little sound in this phrase? She likes to. She likes to.
S C is a small.
It is small here. If you just say she, it's pretty big. But in a sentence where the word is not very important, it's very small. She likes to. How about likes? Is that a big vowel sound or a little vowel sound? Likes.
Likes is big.
Okay. How about t, t, t? She likes to. She likes to.
She like she likes to is small.
Yeah. But if you say the word to alone, it's very big. But in
Yes.
the middle of a sentence when it's not an important word, it's just she likes to.
To.
Can you
She
say
likes to.
say those three words again? Let me hear you.
So she likes to.
She
She
likes to.
as
She likes to. She likes to.
she she likes to.
Uh,
She likes to.
don't forget to whistle. She. She.
She likes to.
hmm How about stroll? Is that a big vowel sound or a little vowel sound?
So stroll is a big sound.
Yeah.
Stroll all.
Roll. It's very big.
Is
Stroll.
yeah.
Stroll.
Stroll.
So we have the classic little big, little big. She likes to stroll.
Yeah. She likes to stroll. She
Okay.
likes to
That's
stroll.
a very common rhythm. That's a very desirable rhythm in English if you can do it. You can't always do that, but it's a good rhythm to have.
Yeah.
How about along? Along. How many syllables are in that word? Along.
Along
Mhm.
is two.
Are they big sounds
Along.
or little sounds? Along.
A, A is short. Long is big.
Okay, so again, that fits our perfect rhythm. She likes to stroll along. It's very perfect.
Yeah. She likes to stroll along.
Along the. What about that word the? Is that a big sound? Along the.
Is a small. The.
That's right. So, and how about beach? Beach.
So it is obviously the beach. Beach.
Very big.
Beach
Very big
is
sound.
long.
Beach. Yeah. So, and it fits our rhythm perfectly. Small, big, small, big, small, big. She likes to stroll along the beach.
She likes to stroll along the beach.
Okay, so it's like perfect big small big small big small. Every every every.
Every, every,
hmm What do you think? There are how many syllables are in that word? Every.
every is two.
Okay, what do you think? Are they big sounds or little sounds? The vowel sounds in that word. Every.
A is uh, every,
Mm.
every is big.
The first one is
E-
big. So now we're breaking our rhythm finally. Every every
e- Every,
every.
every
How about morning? Morning.
is
More.
morning.
Uh-huh.
Is morning.
Are those big vowel sounds or little vowel sounds in that word? Morning. Morning.
Is a big sound. Morning.
Every morning. Every morning.
Every morning.
Hmm? She likes to stroll along the beach every morning.
She likes to stroll along the beach every morning.
Okay, how would you make a yes no question with that sentence?
So, does she like to stroll along the beach every morning?
Okay, that's good. And how would you answer no to that question?
No, no, she doesn't like to stroll along the beach every morning.
Okay, don't forget to whistle when you say the word she. She.
Yeah, no, she,
Whistle more. You have to whistle more.
she, she,
She.
she, she,
Whistle.
she,
She.
she,
That was good. That's
she,
a very good one you just did right now. She.
she,
She. That was good.
she.
That's good. That's good. Okay.
Mm.
No, she. Wait. Does she? Does she like to stroll along the beach every morning? Can you repeat that?
Does she likes to stroll along the beach every morning?
Okay, but you have to whistle. Don't forget to whistle.
Does she
Okay, that was good.
likes to stroll along the beach
hmm
every morning?
Okay. And how would you answer no? No.
No, she,
hmm
she,
That was
no, she.
That's good. A little less whistle. That's a little too much whistle. But you get that's good. It's better than before. No she.
No, she
That was good. That
doesn't like to stroll along the beach every morning.
okay.
Morning.
All right. And this will be our final word for today. Okay. So we've got
Okay, sir.
so one
Okay.
more. Now we've got the word sober. What does the word sober mean?
Sober means serious.
Okay. How about the word infallible? What does that mean?
Yeah, means no error. Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect. Okay.
Sorry, perfect.
What is
Perfect.
what is a stroll? What does stroll
Perfect.
mean? What is stroll?
Stroll means a relaxing walk.
Okay. And the final word for today is confide. The verb to confide.
Confide.
What does that mean? Do you remember seeing that word? We talked about that word in chapter 8 today.
Confide.
hmm
No, sir. I
Confide
could not remember.
to share a secret. To share a secret.
Conf- I think confidence word should be derived from this
Mm.
confidence,
Confidence could mean two things.
like similar.
Confidence could mean that you're very secure about your beliefs or your way of doing something, but also confidence
Yeah.
means a secret. Like, Pachu, why did you tell everyone my secret? I told you in confidence. That means I told you in secret.
Oh,
It means
yes,
that. It
yes.
means two different things. It could mean most people know confidence to mean very, very strong in your beliefs or in your abilities.
Yes,
But
yes. Yeah, yes, yeah.
also confidence
But here is different.
in confidence means in secret. I told you in secret. I told you in confidence. It means both of those things. Or did you ever see
Okay,
the word
okay.
confidential?
Yes,
What does
yes.
that mean?
Confidential, yeah.
Sometimes they stamp
Yeah, confidential means yes, secret. Yeah, don't disclose to other body.
don't tell people. So that word confide means secret. I don't know why it also means
Okay,
strong in your beliefs. I'm not sure what the relationship is between those two, but mostly it means secret.
okay, okay. Yes, confidential. Yeah, right.
Yeah, confidential. That means don't tell anybody.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Can you read the sentence, the example sentence that I have up here?
So he confided his secret to his brother.
Does that make sense? Do you understand the idea in that sentence? What does that mean?
So he told his brother a very secret thing.
Yeah. He shared a secret with his brother. Okay.
Uh,
He confided. He confided. He confided.
he confide. He confided.
Okay. What do you think about those two words together? Can you describe the vowel sounds? Are they big vowel sounds or are they little vowel sounds?
It's It's confide.
What
The
about
fight
uh,
is big.
confide? Fide is big. Fide is big. Kun kun is
Yeah,
small.
fight is big.
Confided.
Con is small. Confide.
But what about the word he? Is that a big sound or a little sound in that phrase? He confided.
He confided. It's small.
It is small. So, how would you put the word his is a very common word. How would you combine confided and his in conversational spoken English? How would that sound?
He confided. He confided. Con
Um,
should be joined with the he.
well, no, his.
So
The
he
word
become
is
so
confided is.
okay. So he confided
Yeah.
confided.
Okay, but now is that a B sound or a snake sound? Z.
It's a it's a B sound.
Okay, so that means what about the I? What do we have to do with the I?
Is a long
Did
to make long
is diz
day
confided
dates.
is.
He confided it.
Okay, but not,
They did.
it shouldn't be diz. It should be diz because of the B, because of that B sound.
So,
Z.
so
Confided is.
confided confide confided it. They did.
Is it is it
They did.
is it diz or diz? Which one is better? Diz or diz?
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Did.
Yeah,
Did.
you have to make it bigger because of the z sound. He
Yeah.
confided it.
Yeah. Did.
He
He confided. Did it. Did it.
diz. Can you say didiz? Didiz. Didiz.
Did it.
Mm-hmm.
Did it.
Confided is.
He confided it.
He confided his secret. Secret.
He
Secret.
can secret. Secret.
Okay, is it secret or secret? Which one is better?
Secret. Secret.
Listen to me.
Secret.
I'm going to say the word how it should be pronounced. Secret. 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 So
Okay.
it isn't secret. Secret. It's secret. It's a big sound. It's not a little sound.
Okay. So secret. Secret.
But it isn't
Secret.
C. It's not C. It's C. C.
See.
Yeah.
Secret.
That you have to relax. You're too tense. You're saying C, like, but it's C.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Gotta relax.
Yes.
Secret.
So
Secret.
relax.
Uh huh.
Secret.
Not C.
Secret.
It's not C. It's C. Secret.
Se- Secret.
Oh, that was good.
Secret.
Yeah, like that. Secret. Secret. Gotta relax.
Secret. Okay. Relax.
He confided his
Yeah.
secret. He confided his secret.
He confided his secret. Secret.
What? Secret or secret? Which one?
Secret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to relax. Relax a little bit. Secret. Now the next
Secret.
the next two words they appear together a lot. So it would sound like tuis, 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 tuis,
Twist. Twist.
tuis,
Twist.
tu-
Twist.
tuis, 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 twis, tuis, tuis,
Twist. Twist.
tuis, tuis. Are those big sounds or little sounds?
It's a small sound.
To his. He confided his secret to
And
his.
he confided his secret to his
Okay, and then we have brother. Brother.
his brother. His
Mhm.
brother.
Now, what about the vowel sounds in that word? Brother. Are those big sounds or little sounds?
It's a big sound. It's a brother.
Both of them or just one?
No, the first.
The first one is big, and how is the second one? Is that big or small?
Uh, Second is small.
Okay, brother. Or
Brother.
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 Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He confided his secret to his brother.
He confided his secret to his brother.
Okay. How would you ask a yes no question with that sentence?
So, did he confide his secret to his brother?
Mhm. Did he? Did he? Did he confide? Did he confide his did he confide his secret to his brother?
Did he confide his secret to his brother?
Okay, it's possible that you could say did. Okay, that's possible. But do you think it's a good idea to say did if it's your question word, if it's a signal that you're making a question, do you think it's a good idea to say did?
No, they did.
Yeah,
Did.
that would sound better because it's part of a question. It's a signal. Hey, I'm asking you a question. Can you
Yes,
say it
yes.
again? But try to give did more attention.
So, did he confide his secret to his brother?
Did he confide his secret to his brother?
Did he confide his secret to his brother?
Okay. All right. And how would you answer no to that question?
So no, he didn't confide
Mhm.
his secret to his brother.
Okay. And no he, that's very common that you put those two together. So it a lot of times it will sound like no-y, no-y, no-y,
No,
no
no,
no
no, no, no,
mm-hmm.
no, didn't
No he didn't.
confide his secret.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
No, didn't confide his secret to his brother.
Okay. Should you say didn't or didn't? Which one sounds better?
Didn't.
Yeah,
Second.
didn't falling down, not going up, but falling down. Didn't. No, he didn't.
Yeah, I have this sound. Yeah. I was asking yesterday this didn't or second or first. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you were asking about the tone. I didn't hear it. I guess I didn't.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
You-
yeah.
I remember
I
you were
was
asking
asking
about that,
tone.
but I was confused. I said, but they sound the same. I guess I wasn't paying attention to the tone. But today I am.
Yes, pain. Yes, yeah, tone. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, he didn't confide his secret to his brother.
No, no, he didn't confine his secret
Hmm.
to his brother.
Okay. All right. Well, well, let's go over the words that we talked about today. So, sober.
Yes,
What
yes.
does that word sober mean?
Sober means serious.
Okay. What does the word infallible mean?
Infallible means never make mistake or perfect.
Okay. Uh, perfect or perfect? Which one is correct?
Is perfect.
Okay.
Is perfect.
What does stroll mean?
Stroll means a relaxing walk.
Okay. What does confide mean?
So to confide means to share a secret.
Uh, to share a secret. Can you whistle when you say share? Share.
Okay. Share,
That's better.
share,
Yeah, that's better.
share.
Share. Share. That's better. So it's not share, but share. You've got to whistle a little
Yeah.
when you do that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, sir.
Well, I think it's time to stop. So
Yes, sir. Thank
uh,
you, sir.
I don't know if I'll tomorrow morning or for you tomorrow night or tonight. I don't think I'll be doing it tomorrow because I don't have time. But maybe later in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I might be back tomorrow at this time. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So thank you everybody for your questions and comments, and I hope you come back when we continue reading Dracula. Goodbye.
Bye.